All right, here we go. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. I'm your host, Serg Vicente, and this is episode 271 of the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. As you guys know, I am your host, Serg Vicente, and we have a good show for you guys today, man. We're really gonna go ahead and break down all the fight action for the weekend. We had some amazing fights. So on today's menu, we're gonna go ahead and break down the amazing performance. Well, I don't know if I want to say amazing performance, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Black Beast and the evolution of Derrick Lewis. We'll discuss that, his amazing win against Curtis Razor Blades. That was pretty fucking nuts, if you ask me. We'll also talk about Adrian Broner's return, and we'll talk about the KO of the year? Arguably the KO of the year. We had Oscar Valdez, Miguel Berchelt, a fight that a lot of us believed was going to be the next Marco Antonio Barrera, versus name your favorite Mexican fighter, right? We thought it was going to be one of those fights, and it ended up being a fight that lived up to expectations, but differently than what we actually determined, man. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rest of the UFC Fight Night Vegas 19 and so much more right here on episode 271 of the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. Everyone who is currently watching live on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, thank you guys as always for joining us on the show. Man, hope you guys are having an amazing Monday morning. As we know, this is Monday morning, so we have our morning coffee and fight news. So let's go ahead and get it kicked off, man. Salute to everybody here. As I see, this is my new birthday mug, man. For everybody who wished me a happy birthday this weekend, February 20th, Saturday was my birthday. So thank you to all the birthday wishes. I really do appreciate it. This was my little, since I do my morning coffee, man, the First Lady of the Fight Podcast, Tosh, went ahead and gave me this mug. You gotta love it. Gotta love the Black Power Fist. Gotta love the artistic mugs, especially when we get out there and do our morning coffee and fight news. So let's go ahead and take a little swig and get it rocking today. All right, UFC 2. I'm sorry, not UFC 259. UFC Fight Night Vegas 19 was this past weekend, and it was headlined by Chicago's very own Curtis Blades, and we can say the most entertaining man in combat sports, Derrick Lewis. This dude is a national treasure. We all know his social media is the social media account to actually follow. But not only does Derrick Lewis have an amazing social media account, he gets in there and really can scrap. A lot of us had an idea of Derrick Lewis. We always looked at Derrick Lewis as someone who is the legitimate epitome of a one-punch knockout fighter. That's what he does. No matter who he's in there with, he always has that opportunity. So because of who he is, because Curtis Blades 9-1 in his last 10. Only person that he's lost to has been Francis Ngannou. A lot of people, including myself, really believed that this was going to be a good fight. This was going to be an entertaining fight. Derrick Lewis is on a 4-fight win streak, but he has holes in his game. We're looking at Curtis Blades, somebody who is evolving in front of our very eyes. He's knocked out strikers. He knocked out, not only did he knock out Alistair Overeem, he's been in there with multiple guys that are known as strikers, and he has not only defeated those guys, he's actually gone out there and knocked them out. So we've seen the development of his game, everything that he's done up there in Evolution Fight Team in Denver. Salute to those guys. Love that team. It is an amazing team. And Curtis Blades was supposed to be the favorite in this fight leading up to it. He was actually a 4-1 favorite. And I'm somebody that loves the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis, and I also had him picked out losing this fight as well. So the fight kicks off and truly is exactly what we really thought was going to happen in the first round. Derrick Lewis, people, was getting absolutely picked apart. He was sitting there. I mean, we were looking at a legitimate heavyweight. And when I was looking at it, I was like, this is a guy in Curtis Blades that is going to be a future champion. Look at how he moves. He's fucking huge. He hits the limit at 265. He is an elite power wrestler. He can take you down. He can determine exactly where the fight's going to go. But one of the things that I think a lot of us are also noticing is that, I mean, he has holes in his game too. But that first round, you didn't see him. Everything that he was throwing was landing. He was dominating with leg kicks. He was dominating the position game in the fight. And that's something that I thoroughly anticipated that he can continue going throughout the entire fight. Now, let's talk about this. The evolution of the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis has always been somebody that we've always known has incredible power. Dude can knock your face off no matter what type of the fight it is. I mean, let's not forget his fight against Volkov. Volkov won every single moment of that fight. There was 20 seconds left in the fight. It looked like he's cruising. Derrick Lewis turns it on and puts on one of the most amazing performances ever in the last 20 seconds. Gets an amazing knockout win. We knew he had that. We know that he has that power, that Hail Mary in MMA that not many people have. Second round comes, and one thing that we've noticed, and that I was really noticing in this fight with Derrick Lewis, is that one of the things that Derrick Lewis, if you go back and we look at some of his fights, he lost to Sean Jordan. Yeah, we forget the LSU football player. He lost via like a switch kick in that one, jumping switch kick, which is amazing because it's a fight, is a pun, or should I say a technique that he actually uses a lot now. But he was knocked out there. We saw Derrick Lewis get defeated by people like Daniel Cormier, who obviously are these technical wrestlers that are just that much more technically proficient than he is. We've seen him lose to like JDS. But here's the thing about it. He continues to evolve. Now, does he have different weapons? No, he doesn't. He still has that ungodly power. But what he does have that he's really developing is patience. He used to just go downhill. His cardio obviously wasn't where it needed to be, and he used to really go downhill on guys and allow himself to be open. He's kind of developed into this counter-punching kickboxer with amazing takedown defense. He is difficult to get down, but if you can get him down, one thing that he does amazingly when he's down is that he doesn't take a lot of punishment. He knows how to really stall you when he's doing that, but not only does he really stall you, and he understands that he does an amazing job of using his explosion and getting back to his feet. So there's a lot of development and of evolving that we have seen from Derrick Lewis over the last 2 years, though, especially after the loss that he had with Daniel Cormier. We've seen this evolving, and so let's jump back to this fight. He's patient. He sees what is coming to fruition with, obviously, Curtis Blades. And one thing that you do with an elite wrestler, and that you notice a lot of people actually end up doing this, but one thing that he does with an elite wrestler is that you have to start throwing things up the middle, whether it be front kicks. Conor McGregor used to do this amazingly. You go back and look at Conor McGregor's fight with Chad Mendes. The body kick, the teep to the body, is an incredible technique that you use against wrestlers. Everything going up the middle. Uppercuts as well, right up the middle. So when he's in this fight, he's throwing up the middle, kicks up the middle, teeps up the middle. And one thing that you really utilize against a wrestler is that takedown. He's going straight through. And Curtis Blades at the beginning of the fight was doing a much better job of setting everything up, using a lot of feints, everything from using his hands, using, changing levels, moving his head. All of a sudden in this round, second round, midway through the round, he stops doing that. He decides to all of a sudden, and Francis Ngannou actually is the one who actually said this on social media, in which it made a lot of sense. He went out there and just shot in, stopped setting things up, shot straight in, and ate the meanest fucking uppercut that you'll ever see. You go back and look at that uppercut. It really reminds you of Jermell Charlo when he went out there and fought Erickson Lubin. It was a punch that he never saw coming. Erickson Lubin dipped his head to the side. Jermell Charlo catches him with an amazing uppercut. Almost changes direction when he threw it. Derrick Lewis did the exact same thing. Curtis Blades shoots in. He sets himself, unloads this crazy fucking uppercut, catches Curtis Blades, and I'm talking about absolutely goes stiff. Stiff as a board, takes 2 more shots on the way down. Game, set, match. Amazing win by the Black Beast. Cuts a promo. You know what the fucking dude does. Amazing. I was absolutely blown away. One of the most devastating, violent knockouts you've ever seen. And the thing about it is this. It wasn't a lucky punch. It was set up. He saw that this was coming, and this is absolutely something that was worked on. It was worked on. It was developed by their team, man. So you have to give the Black Beast credit for this one. Where does the Black Beast go from here? He just defeated the number 2 guy in the weight class. Guys, I'm going to keep it a bean. He's earned his spot. He deserves. So here's a couple different things. These are a couple different matchups that I was thinking about would really work well. The loser of Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic. That makes perfect sense. Number 1 versus number 2 guy. Number 1 versus the champion. Whoever loses that gets the number 2 guy, the winner of that fight, because we could all anticipate, we understand Jon Jones is probably going to get the next. He's probably going to get the winner of that one. Deservedly so. He deserves that spot. Jon Jones has earned getting the first crack at the heavyweight title shot if he's moved up. I have no qualms on that shit. You know what I'm saying? I have no qualms on that at all. So the loser of that, whether it be Francis Ngannou or Stipe Miocic, gets Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis is the next man up. It makes total sense. There's the first option. Here's your second option. Give him fucking Jon Jones. If we have to wait for anything ever happens with this Jon Jones fight, and, you know, the Stipe fight is going to take too much time. Let's say whoever won the Stipe Miocic fight versus Francis Ngannou, it was a 5-round war. I don't see it being a 5-round war, but let's say it's a fucking 5-round war. Let's say it's a 5-round war. They beast each other out. This fight has to get pushed to the end of the year. You want to get Jon Jones in there again sooner? You want to get him in there by July? Perfect thing to go ahead and do. Derrick Lewis. Welcome Jon Jones to the heavyweight division. Now, you got to be careful with that one if you're the UFC. Because you're fighting somebody that is dynamic and as heavy-handed as a Derrick Lewis, you don't want to fuck up your commodity, okay? So for the UFC, they really have to think about this. Where we want, and this is what I definitely think they're going to give Jon Jones the title shot. But if they have to give him somebody else, Derrick Lewis is an amazing option. He's an amazing option because you can sell that. You can say, look, Jon Jones has to come to heavyweight and fight the hardest hitting heavyweight because people, let's just keep it a beam. Derrick Lewis just broke the UFC record. He just surpassed Vitor Belfort with 13 knockouts. Now he has 13 knockouts. He is the sole owner of the most knockouts in UFC history. He has surpassed Vitor Belfort. He has surpassed Anthony Rumble Johnson. He is officially the scariest knockout puncher to ever grace the UFC. That says a lot. So you can sell that versus Jon Jones, arguably the GOAT. Arguably the GOAT versus the hardest puncher in UFC history. You can sell that matchup. It's an amazing matchup you could absolutely sell, but here's the problem. If Jon Jones loses, he's probably not going to lose by decision. He's probably going to get flatlined if he loses that fight. How do you repackage Jon Jones if he gets flatlined? So put a pin in that one. We'll double back. Last but certainly not least, I'll say Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane, the up-and-coming guy at heavyweight, is someone who a lot of people believe will eventually become heavyweight champion. That guy is somebody that you can sell if you want to put him over and then eventually get him as into the championship conversation. So those are 3 matchups. Obviously, the loser of the championship with Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. After that, you have either Jon Jones or Cyril Gane. Any of those guys would be an amazing matchup and an amazing... You can sell it. You can absolutely sell that matchup. And it would definitely put Derrick Lewis in the right space in terms of financially as well as with the public, man. We want to see my man get down because he is a national fucking treasure. No, not Nicolas Cage. The national treasure is absolutely the Black Beast, Derrick motherfucking Lewis. So salute to that man. I love what he is doing. That was an incredible performance. By far the biggest win of his career. not the most dramatic. That will absolutely have to go to the fight against Volkov, which is another matchup that we could absolutely see in the future as well. But nah, fam, we ain't going to go that route. We'll say let's give him the loser of Stipe and Francis Ngannou. That's me personally, because also, who wouldn't want to see another fight? The first fight obviously was a shit show with Francis and Derrick Lewis, but Derrick Lewis does have a win against Francis Ngannou. And the fact that he has a win over him, you could actually sell that. Derrick Lewis's back was fucked up. He's had surgeries. Who knows what happened to fucking Francis Ngannou in that last fight? He was mentally beat down by the loss to Stipe Miocic in his first loss in his career. We can repackage this fight. I'm telling you, there's a lot there. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Real fast, let me talk about Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, Chicago's very own, Chi-Town, De La Salle High School. I fuck with Derrick Blades, okay? I'm a huge fan of Derrick Blades. Curtis Blades. I really fuck with Curtis Blades. This is not a good loss. Look, we all get touched. But one thing that is continually showing is that when he fights the elite guys in the weight class, especially the elite guys with power, he gets put down. This isn't a good loss, but here's the positive thing. He's the only heavyweight guy he just turned 30 years old. He's young, and heavyweights don't hit that real physical prime to their mid-30s. He's going to be fine. He'll continue coming along. Dog, don't worry about Curtis Blades. Honestly, I still believe he will eventually be UFC heavyweight champion. All right. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Let's put up this little banner to let people know. Yo, make sure you guys listen everywhere to the Fight Podcast, where everywhere podcasting is available. Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Check us out at thefightpodcast.com. Listen, like, subscribe, share. I believe is right down there for you guys. You can go ahead and check that out. We're keeping the party going, though. Let's transition. Let's talk about a little bit of boxing. All right, let me. Which one do I want to talk first? Let's talk about the real fight, because I can talk about Adrian Broner at any point in time, and it is what it is. Let's talk about Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt. Okay, I'll talk about also the rest of UFC Fight Night, but this is the bigger news, because this fight, not only do we have a fight that a lot of us believed was the fight of the year, we also ended up getting fucking one of the knockouts of the decade, okay? Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt was slated to end up being, like I said at the top of the show, name your two favorite Mexican fighters of all time. This was supposed to be another one of those. Antonio Barrera versus whoever the other Mexican dude is. This is what this was supposed to be, a modern day version of Gotti Ward. Two dudes who are willing to just bang it the fuck out. And we did get that. So this is one thing I want to think about. Did it live up to expectations? Yes, it did, but not in the manner that I think a lot of us really anticipated. I was expecting this back and forth war between these two guys that, I mean, let's just keep it a bean. These are two of the best guys in the weight class. They fight at 130 pounds. And here's the thing. We talk about 130 in boxing a lot because this is the same weight class, and it's around where the Fab Five is. The Fab Five: Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. These guys are in the same vein, the same weight class, and around there. These guys fight at 130, that's 135, but still, these are guys that can eventually fight each other because they're so young in their careers. So, in looking at this matchup, a lot of us had a lot of expectations. This is Oscar Valdez's second fight with Team Canelo. So he's training with those guys, Eddie Reynoso and the boys over there as well. I expected a good fight. This is what we saw. Oscar Valdez is on another fucking level, guys. Oscar Valdez went out here, outboxed, outperformed. In my opinion, was dominating the fight. It was an entertaining fight. It was a competitive fight. But there was definitely one guy that was dominating, and that was Oscar Valdez. The undefeated guy, the guy that we all said over here on the Fight Podcast is the guy that we should really be paying attention to, even though we're huge fans of Miguel Berchelt as well. So it's a back and forth fight. Fourth round, Miguel Berchelt gets staggered by Oscar Valdez. 10th round, again, it's back and forth, guys. It almost looked like when Manny Pacquiao got knocked the fuck out. It's when these guys come forward and they're ahead of their front foot. They're not sitting back. They're almost rushing in. And Berchelt came rushing in the moment that that Oscar Valdez was turning out, hit him with a perfectly timed left hook. Boom! My man crumpled. I swear to you, he looked like fucking Andy walked into the room from Toy Story the way he fell. It literally looked, Andy walked in, my man just collapses. Fights over, Oscar Valdez wins, KO of the year in my opinion. I just don't see another KO being that just devastating. In boxing, shit, possibly, or even MMA this year to keep it a buck with you guys. Amazing KO. Afterwards, amazing sportsmanship by both. Berchelt was on the ground for fucking ever. Finally, time he got up. But this is why I'm excited about this. This opens up a fight that we really want to see. Shakur Stevenson was in the audience. Shakur Stevenson believed Berchelt was going to win. Shakur Stevenson said, I am all here to fight against Oscar Valdez. And Oscar Valdez said, I'm about that smoke as well. These are two up-and-coming guys. Shakur Stevenson, like I told you about earlier, he's a part of that Fab Five group. He's a part of those up-and-coming young guys. If that fight happens, which I believe it will, that's for the WBC. So now, like I said, Oscar Valdez now is the 130-pound champion. The WBC 130-pound champ. Guys, I'm telling you now, that is a fight that we want to see. This is one of those fights that we can sell. And this is one of those fights that will put Shakur Stevenson, if he wins, or the fight that will put Oscar Valdez up on top. This makes whoever wins that fight a top 10 pound-for-pound dude. I love it. Great matchup. The young boys in boxing are fucking coming to play. I love what I'm seeing from boxing right now. All right, let me take it back. I fucking hate what I'm seeing from boxing right now, but we are getting some good matchups. All right, I'm just being honest. There's too much politics in the shit. I love that's why we love MMA, right? We love the fights that we want to see. We know we're gonna see it, but boxing, we're starting to get some good ones, and this was a good one this past weekend. Salute to them. All right, before we get up out of here, we got to talk about this guy. Also, this past weekend, Adrian Broner, the problem, came back after over 2 years off, and this was supposed to be his comeback fight. He fought this journeyman in Santiago. Biggest win that he ever had was DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley on his resume. Corley dropped him, and Corley ain't been Corley for fucking decades for all I care. This was a fight that was supposed to be a fight that was supposed to make Adrian Broner look like Adrian Broner. It was supposed to make AB look like AB. And I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. AB looks like ass. He looked like ass when he fought Pacquiao. He looked like ass when he fought. He's looked like ass for the last 5 years. And the crazy thing about it is this kid dude isn't even 30 yet. I have no idea what happened to Adrian Broner, guys. I don't. He won this fight. A lot of people, the scorecards were all over the fucking place. I had it a draw. I'm not impressed. And think about this, guys. He was outlanded by this opponent that he was supposed to go out there and dominated by over 100 punches. Fam, how do you lose? How do you win a fight when you got outstruck by over 100 punches? He's fallen in love with his power. He waits far too much. He doesn't control the ring. Guys, I have no idea what happened to Adrian Broner. But I'll tell you one thing, and I'll be very honest with this. He is no longer a top-level elite boxer, in my opinion. Mid-level dude. He has a name. He can give you some... He can sell some fights because people know who he is. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Can he win a title at 147 or 140? Absolutely not. That time has come and gone. I'm sorry to admit it. It's something between here, and he just doesn't have it. It is what it is. It's sad to see, but it was he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough. He doesn't continue doing enough, and it just sucks because he's one of those guys that has so much fucking potential, and that's why all of us loved him. He had the style, he had the skills, he had everything, but he didn't have what it take up here. So it's an unfortunate thing. He gets the W. Am I impressed? Absolutely not, man. You can keep that shit. That was an ass win. But it is what it is. All in all, guys, this past weekend was a good fucking weekend of fights, though. The whole, like I said, the UFC card was amazing from top to bottom. A lot of fun. Obviously, the weekend itself, just with Oscar Valdez, Burchell, and the two main events again with Derrick Lewis, that is all we actually needed. Amazing fight weekend, guys. And with that being said, yo, this has been your morning coffee and fight news with your boy Serg Vicente of the Fight Podcast. Really quick, let me go ahead and look. I'm gonna check some stuff for you guys just to make sure there's no other news that just popped out or nothing like that crazy. So let me look at this real fast. Remember, check us out everywhere podcasting is available: Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Check us out there. Let's just check real fast. I want to make sure we got everything for you guys. We got some fights coming up, obviously. Boxing wise, anything? Derrick Lewis, boom, boom, boom. Anything pulled out? Anything really got it? Got Holly Holm. Oh, that's a good Holly Holm. Juliana Pena was booked. That's for May 8th. That's going to be a great fight. I can't wait to see that one. Juliana Pena is coming off an amazing win. We'll see what ends up happening with that one, especially catching Holly Holmes there. Anybody else? Faraz Zahabi's younger brother comes out there, makes an amazing thing. Unfortunately, Shayna Dobson takes an L this past weekend as well. But all in all, man, great fucking fights. And we have some more amazing fights. Canelo Alvarez comes back this week, which is coming fucking out of nowhere. And obviously in 2 weeks, we have the return of Israel, the last stylebender Adesanya. All right. All right, guys. With that being said, this is your boy, Serg Vicente of the Fight Podcast, the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe. This is episode 271, Morning Coffee and Fight News. As always, I love you guys. Thank you all for listening live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. I will see you guys next time right here on the Fight Podcast. Check us out at the Fight Podcast. Have a good cup of coffee, man. Love you guys.